Football is more than just a game. It's a teacher, and its lessons stay with us forever. Football taught us how to hope and how to heal, how to win and how to wait.
SEC approved the 10-game conference-only football schedule.
You thought playing 8 SEC games was a grind? How does 10 sound?
It's going to be hell no matter who you are.
It's going to be somebody who will knock your face off. If anybody's going to do it, SEC football is going to do it.
It's going to be compelling every single week.
It taught us that any obstacle can be overcome and to focus on what you can control.
We're going to block out the noise.
So no matter what comes our way, we don't blink. And when we get the chance to play, we'll be ready. Anyone, anytime, anywhere.
If they move it back, if they change it, who cares? It doesn't matter. You call us at midnight, we'll go play in the pasture.
Tigers win over the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
LSU knocks off Ole Miss.
Victory over Vanderbilt.
The LSU Tigers has knocked off the University of Florida.
And LSU with the win over Arkansas. And the LSU Fighting Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide, a loss here at Bryant-Denny.
LSU will beat South Carolina.
And LSU victorious, outlasting Auburn. LSU winning over Texas A&M.
LSU headed for a big W.
LSU a victory. SEC champions.
And you got love football, man. It's like playing football when you're a little kid in the backyard.
Thank you.
Go Tigers!
Hello and welcome to Tigers Roar. What a way to get us started. That's right. Football season is just around the corner, and Bud, man, I could not be happier about that.
Good to see you, JP. Good to see everybody out there in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas where this show will be rebroadcast tonight at 8 o'clock. And, hey, we are chomping at the bit to get something that we can sink our teeth into.
That's right.
We're going to break down the new schedule with the 10 games. We're going to talk about the new players, a lot of guys that are going to be in new uniforms and true freshmen coming to the forefront. Obviously, after what happened last year, is it a reload or rebuild?
Right.
And, of course, as you know, JP, a lot of political controversy on whether this thing is going to get there in front of people. You're still waiting less than 6 weeks away. That will you be in the stadium? And a lot of the teams have already put out 20, 25, 30%. I'm hoping LSU at some point can get 50% of the crowd in there because, let's be honest, Saints host Tampa Bay the first Sunday. I'm going to watch it. But without fans, it's going to be different, JP.
That's right. There's still a lot of questions surrounding the football program. Yes, the three, ACC, SEC, and the Big 12, they will play football, but, of course, the other two conferences, what a dumpster fire between the Big 10. All the presidents, the athletic directors, and the commissioner of that conference. Couldn't get much worse for the Big 10. Thinking about becoming the Big 6, signing petitions all over the place so they can come back to play. You just have to applaud the SEC for going forth. Look, it might not happen September 26th, but at least it didn't jump the gun, cancel something early, give people hope, get these kids back on the practice field. You talk to these kids, they want to be there. They feel safe there. Excellent facilities, LSU, and all these SEC schools can provide the best doctors, the best care. Their meals are taken care of. They're in a little bubble. At least LSU had a plan, just like the NBA had a plan. They stuck to the plan, and it was successful. Hopefully, LSU can continue on, and September 26th, host the Bulldogs in Death Valley.
Well, I am going to wear these sunglasses for a couple segments today. Then I'll take them off later on. But until we get a clearance and say in all systems go, you worry about the politics, you worry about the science, and you worry about the legal aspect of it. Talking to a lot of doctors, it is obvious what these coaches have been saying. The players are a lot safer within that bubble that you alluded to. Now, Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley said to his team, hey, if you want to go home, this is a weekend to go home. So about 25%, and let's just say for a mathematics standpoint, 25% of 100, let's say they have 100 players, 25 of them went home, 9 came back and tested positive for COVID-19. This is what Coach O and all the coaches are saying.
Yeah.
Shelley Mullinex, Jack Marucci, all the people out at LSU, way cutting edge. Let's give Scott Woodward a lot of credit. And oh, by the way, just quick tidbit. You think LSU would have got Missouri and Vanderbilt as their two Eastern additional opponents if Joe Oliva and King Alexander were still here? I don't think so. That being said, they have them and they can control them. They're out at practice now. We're starting to see a little bit of video. If you hadn't seen it, we're going to give you a couple of bites from that. We're going to talk about all the new numbers, all the new players, talk about the schedule. But golly, the day that we know for sure that they're going to play, and of course John Bell Edwards has got to sign off on how many people are going to be in and what you're going to do. Is there going to be fans? Are you going to have to wear a mask? We've already know there won't be a physical ticket.
Right.
We already know you can't pay cash for your concessions. So it's going to be different. But after about 6 months, JP, everybody I'm talking to is starving for some college football. And let's just hope the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12, as well as some of the other smaller conferences, all get a chance to play here in about 6 weeks.
Right, as you mentioned, LSU has not come out with any official guidelines of how many fans will be allowed into the stadium. However, the SEC did release some guidelines that masks will be worn unless otherwise noted by the state and the CDC about each individual situation. You have to wear your mask when you're entering, when you're exiting, when you're walking around, everywhere besides where you're sitting with people from your own household, outdoor stadium at LSU. I mean, it gets hot over there on Saturday afternoons, excuse me. Wearing a mask that whole time, it's going to be the price you're going to have to absolutely pay. There was a little exception. Some loopholes have been found already, possibly by fans, talking about, I'll just be eating my nachos for the whole quarter, because you can't wear the mask while you're eating or drinking. And some fans, that's what they're going to have to do. I mean, if you want to go to these games, if you're lucky enough to get a ticket, because believe me, buddy, there are a lot of people out there that aren't afraid to go to Tiger Stadium and catch a coronavirus that also want to go to these LSU games. So whatever the allotted amount is going to be, it will be that amount in the stadium.
Well, I got a buddy of mine, and he likes to cocktail. And, of course, as we know, if you're in the suites, you can get all the stuff that you want. As we know, beer was implemented into the concessions last year. But he says that, hey, look, number one, how are they going to legislate this on having the mask on? And I will do a segment with the mask, once again, to show everybody that you can exist in the mask. But 3 hours, he says he's going to be drinking the whole game, so he's not going to have his mask on.
Yep.
But look, at this point, I want to give a shout out to the students who are coming back and want to make sure they understand how important they are. Now, it just happened at North Carolina. It's happened a couple of other places, Oklahoma as well. And here is the catch-22, JP. You're young. By the way, is it happy birthday this
Saturday.
week?
Yep.
This Saturday. Happy birthday.
Appreciate that, bud, man.
And we won't say, but let's just say he's 30-something. But he's a lot different than most of these liberal millennials who are in the media who, can you believe it, they're covering the sport and they want it not to play? Holy cow, don't get me started on those people. I'd like to slap a few with this nice backhand I have. That all being said, the students are very important. Now, they've been cooped up for 6 months. You saw Alabama and their AD, and you saw what happened. They are all drinking and partying and no social distancing and no mask. The reason that's important is we feel like you got to have students on campus if you're going to play football. And so if you have a spike and a big outbreak with a lot of positives for the students, that hurts just as much, if not more, because these players are not going to get a bunch of it, and if they do, they're so young, they're going to fight it off. Obviously, there's a couple guys on the team. Coach O said they got tested Sunday before they started practice on Monday. There's a couple guys that'll be out 10 to 14 days being quarantined. But for the most part, how about this? Michigan, 0 positive tests in the last 338 tests. They can't play. How about this one today? Ohio's governor says, oh, by the way, high school, you can play football, and Ohio State is sitting on the sidelines.
Signing petitions.
Plus the NCAA is not letting these kids transfer.
Right.
And, you know, we had one of our great listeners on radio and internet say she had a dream that in her dream another Ohio State quarterback came over and LSU won the second national championship. Obviously referring to Justin Fields, but Miss Kathy.
What a dream.
Yeah.
What a dream.
I do think this is Miles Brennan's football team.
I agree.
And we got to give him every opportunity and the benefit of the doubt. Back to the students, you've got to do your part, because if there is a big outbreak, knowing that we have a Democratic governor in this state, he's not going to be easy on it. And let's be honest, all of the politics involved, you got to get the LSU playing football. And JP, I don't like even hearing 20, 25, 30%. I'm hoping we get up to 50 at some point. By the way, 50% of the season ticket holders have opted out. 50% have said they want to go. So that's my key right there. I'd love to see 50% in the stadium, 50% of the season ticket holders. I don't know what they're going to do with student tickets, but I think they could make that work. And Scott Woodward and LSU has been on the cutting edge. Let's give them a lot of credit. But my gosh, we need some college football. And we're not even talking about the monetary and the psychological aspect. You know what the SEC says? It just means more.
Right.
Let's see if they live up to that saying.
Well, LSU really had an advantage. They were the first staff back on campus to get back to work after this whole outbreak began. They had a bunch of cases in New Orleans, so a lot of good study could be placed just down the road. So they kind of had a very good plan already set up for these student athletes to come in, keep them safe, get the testing done, keep it done right. If there is an outbreak, they had a plan. Hopefully this all pays off, and we really get some football here around the corner.
Well, and then the other thing, too, and I know you're a big Saints fan, and you and I have already talked about this. Look, there are a lot of my listeners and callers who are alienated because of what the NFL and all these other professional teams have done with political statements and not kneeling and all that other stuff that we don't want to get into, because my blood pressure has been high enough. As you can see, I've been stress eating a little bit lately. That all being said, I just want normalcy, and I'm going to watch Drew Brees and the Saints take on Tampa Bay and Tom Brady on September 13th. That's Sunday at 3 1/4, 3:25, whatever the kick. But without any fans, it's like, I don't know what analogy that we can relate to. It's going to be golf. It's not a problem. But all these other professional athletes, they miss the fans. They miss the adrenaline. And, of course, as we know, this is a lot of bucks that we're talking about with no fans that you're losing.
We have a lot more here on Tigers Roar. Don't go anywhere. Before we take our first break, I remind you guys, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting. A great way to keep up with everything we do here at the Pelican. Got a lot of great shows going on. I'll tell you about them real quick. The Clarence Bugg Show, Monday and Wednesday from 10 to 12 noon. Also got the replay at 10 p.m. to midnight. Clarence,
I love CB.
He does such a great job each and every day. Definitely check him out, the Clarence Bugg Show. And also Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have the Exiles, Bill Profita, Kevin Gallagher. They also have great guests talking to a lot of high officials in the state. And on Thursday night, 7 o'clock, the new show, Rock It Right with Betsy Barnes. They call it a hurricane. She gets kind of spicy like the Budman, and Dr. K. Solar. They are two busy blondes showing off life in Louisiana. Check them out as well. Don't forget, while you're on YouTube, give us a subscribe so you know when everything new comes out right here at the Pelican. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here. Some big changes are coming to the Pelican and Cox Cable. July 15th, our numbers are changing. We're easier to find and we're in high def. New Orleans, Gramercy, Lutcher, Acadiana, Patterson, Baton Rouge, new numbers coming and a brand new signal. It all happens July 15th on Cox Cable. Do your buddy Clarence a favor, will you? Get all the details by checking your local guide.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Thank you, Marty. We continue here on Tigers Roar. Buddy Songy and Jonathan Poche. When we talk some LSU football, the schedule for 2020 was released. LSU starts with Mississippi State September 26th. Mike Leach brings in the Bulldogs, Tiger Stadium. Going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, and you know, the last time LSU opened the season against Mississippi State, they beat them 45-0 and won the national championship. Oh, by the way, the quarterback wore number 15.
He did.
Matt Flynn, of course, as we know now, Miles Brennan wearing 15. The Pirate coming in, and we know that Mike Leach is we hated that there was no SEC Media Days because him and Lane Kiffin and all those guys would have had a lot of fun.
He is a great follow on Twitter.
Oh, he really is. And so he comes in here, he gets his SEC indoctrination. Here's what I'm interested in. Number one, we all know that LSU's got a ton of talent on offense. And I'm going to get into some of the players and the numbers for you tonight, since we'll probably have this show running for a couple weeks so you can keep up with the numbers as we get closer. But Bo Pelini, you got it. Now, look, he's got a grad transfer quarterback coming over from Stanford.
Yep.
So they're going to throw it 50 times on the night, and I'm hoping it's a night game of September 26th. But they're going to throw it about 50 times, and so how many sacks and how many tackles for losses you want for Bo Pelini to have in that first ball game?
At least 4. If it was more than 4, I'd be excited about that, but at least 4. The 4-3, I mean, all the talent you have on a defensive line. Of course, Tyler Shelvin has looked like a man possessed so far at practice. All the coaches are raving about him. You get a lot of talent in that secondary. You mentioned all the passing. Well, that's going to be a lot of attention for some interceptions. Get Miles Brennan back that ball so he can connect with the best wide receiver in the game.
I can relate to Tyler. I'm about 5 heavy right now, but Tyler's about 25 heavy. He's up at 365, 370.
Yeah.
He's got to get that weight down. Don't sleep on 62. Siaki Ika. He is the big fella from Utah that was out of shape.
Right.
He's all the way down to 330. So, but defensively.
And the freshman Roy. I mean, he's been looking good.
Jaquelin Roy, all these guys coming in, Damone Clark, Jabril Cox. We'll get into all of that, but it's going to be fun. Oh, by the way, for the opener, 26-point favorites for LSU over Mississippi State. To me, that seems a little high for an early season game on an offense that's never really played together in a game. Obviously, some of the parts have been there, but we know you're losing 4 offensive linemen starters. You're losing Justin Jefferson. You're losing, obviously, Joe Burrow. And the key departure, I think, replacing Lloyd Cushenberry at center.
Of course, you had a couple guys opt out for the Tigers this year. Neil Farrell, who I thought was going to have a pretty good year on that defensive line. And, of course, Kerry Vincent Jr., who you figured was going to play some significant snaps at defensive back. The guy has a lot of speed, but he just wants to concentrate on the NFL Combine. LSU has a lot of young talent coming through this year, especially in the defense, on that secondary. Not to mention Derek Stingley coming back. They're going to be just fine. Bo Pelini is going to have a good secondary to work with and get that pressure on the quarterback. After Mississippi State, of course, you mentioned earlier, LSU got the goodbye. Play Vanderbilt back-to-back years. Last year, it wasn't really close. As you remember, Joe Burrow carved them up the whole first half. Miles Brennan comes in later in that game. Vanderbilt, Missouri, good draw for Tigers right there when you get to add 2 games plus that 8 SEC game schedule. They take a look at the schedule right there, starting off with Mississippi State.
Well, Mississippi State at home and then at Vandy, of course, as we alluded to. Scott Woodward, to me, has a lot of street cred. He's got a lot of respect in that meeting room. And we all thought it was going to be Tennessee and Kentucky, the next 2 teams on the SEC rotational schedule for LSU. And they got Vandy on the road, and they've got Missouri at home. Now, Vandy on the road last year, LSU took over the stadium. I've already got probably 10, 15 people telling me, we're going to Nashville first weekend of October. But what percentage of the fans will be allowed? You know, the road team only gets 500 tickets. So if you're going to go to a road game this year, you better have a relationship with StubHub. That being said, I would imagine there'll be more Tiger fans and Commodore fans in that game, and I would expect also another 20-plus point favorite for LSU in that game.
Okay, LSU comes back home to host Missouri, a team LSU hasn't played in a few years. Gotta expect LSU to dominate that game. Another game you don't want to lose. Starting out 26, that's important because you want to play Mississippi State, you want to play Vandy, you want to play Missouri before you go to the Swamp and face those Gators.
Well, the last time Missouri came into Tiger Stadium, it was the first year that Coach O and Coach Ensminger had taken over, if you remember, in 18. Or it might have been, I don't know what year it was, 17.
17, right.
And they broke all kinds of offensive records. They lit Missouri up. So, right out of the gate, the casual fan is going to expect LSU to come right out of the gate and be 3-0.
Right, the Florida Gators, Dan Mullen, they will be talented. They will play with an attitude at home. The Swamp, always a tough play to play in Gainesville. I believe that's going to be the true early test. To me, I look at this schedule. It's very favorable for LSU. You think they're the favorite in, if not all those games, most of those games, but the really one sticks out to me, Florida, and what I love later on down the year, they still were able to implement that bye week before the Alabama game. It's like the SEC knows that these 2 teams need to be physically prepared because the winner of that game usually at least wins the SEC West.
Interesting developments in Gainesville this week. 3 of their top wide receivers did not practice the first couple days. Now, we don't know if they're opting out or what, and so Kyle Trask did a great job. He came in here and had his first SEC start on the road in Tiger Stadium. I just saw the replay of that game last weekend on the SEC Network, 42-28. But look, I do think that this is going to be a game where LSU might be a 1 or 2 point underdog in this game. And look, let's just be honest. Florida or Georgia is going to win the East. I think that's a given. LSU, if they win that game, you got to feel pretty good for them having a chance. And here's the crazy thing, JP. You got to go all the way back to 1969 for the last time in the regular season that you played 10 regular season games. 9-1 that year. And that was also the year, that they got shafted because guess who went to a bowl game and LSU sat home? Notre Dame took away their bowl ban. And LSU got shafted out of going to the Cotton Bowl. So 9-1, 8-2. Most people are thinking that. I think you got to be 9-1 to win the West this year. And so if you lose to Alabama, then they've got a 2-game lead on you because, as we know, head-to-head is the first tiebreaker. So this is important that LSU wins this game against Florida. And I think depending on Miles Brennan and the offense and turnovers, but you know Dan Mullen doesn't third year out of 4, 3 out of 4 years LSU's played in Gainesville because of Joe Oliva and Greg Sankey. I almost said Skanky.
You did.
But, messing up the Hurricane game.
We have some B-roll of actual Tiger football practice. You got to see it. Check it out. Me and Buddy will continue to talk about the schedule, but practice 1 in the books in pads. We'll let you guys check it out. And there he is, Miles Bryant, number 15, getting his work done. I've heard good things about Chris Curry. They're saying he's the most physical of the running backs. That guy has put himself together in the weight room.
He looks good. Of course, Brennan is just going to have to get the ball to his playmakers. Now, you're going to come up here and don't freak out, because you are going to see Kevin Falk is now the new running backs coach, his first year as the main running backs coach. Tommy Robb over at Texas A&M. First 2 guys in the drills, Chris Curry, and, of course, this is Tyrion Davis-Price, who had a big run against Florida. He is a load at about 225, 230. Now, this is going to be Emory, and unfortunately, Emory had the eye surgery. He's gotten bigger in the weight room. He still needs to work on his picking up the blitzes. He can catch the ball out the backfield, but as you can see there, didn't do great on that job. And here's my man. I'll give you my prediction. Eric Gilbert. He's supposed to be a tight end, but I think they're going to use him as a hybrid big wide.
There you saw a big number, too. If you're wondering, no, that's not Justin Jefferson. That's Eric Gilbert, a phenomenal tight end recruit that came in for this, coming in for his freshman year.
There he is right there.
Everybody
doesn't look like a tight end wearing 2.
That guy passes the eye test for sure. I mean, built like a Greek god, can run, very smooth with the ball. He is going to be probably the most exciting tight end recruit ever to be in the purple and gold.
Here's my prediction. And look, I don't know if we're going to call him a hybrid wide receiver or a legitimate tight end. I think he's going to play, but can you imagine the mismatch he's going to be, the matchup problem he's going to be in the red zone? I'm saying it now. Are you ready? Eric Gilbert will be the first tight end in LSU history to have a 1,000-yard receiving year. May not happen this year, but before he leaves in 3 years, he'll have 1,000 yards in receptions. He's that good if he stays healthy.
And that would not surprise me. Miles Brennan has so much talent on the outside around Gilbert. I mean, you talk about the best receiver in the game, number 7, Chase. Then you still have Terrence Marshall, who all he does is put games away in the national championship, making LeBron dunking type catches. It makes it look easy. And then you see right there, Jacoby Stevens in the backfield.
But you saw Racey McMath a little bit before that. Number 17 looks lean and mean. And can you believe Jamar Chase's daddy said that Racey McMath is just as fast, if not faster, than his son and Terrence Marshall?
We'll continue talking about the schedule. LSU, after Florida comes back home to host the Gamecocks of South Carolina. But, man, how is Muschamp and the Gamecocks going to look this year?
You know, I think it's a real crucial year for the guy they call Boom. Muschamp obviously has had a few wins, but let's be honest, it's been tough sledding for him. And I would imagine LSU would be anywhere from 17 to 20-point favorites in that game against Carolina.
At the South Carolina, LSU, something that doesn't happen very often. I'll have to refer to your expertise, but takes on Auburn, then Alabama in consecutive games. I can't remember that ever happening before.
Well, the difference is now there's an open date in
between. There's the bye week, granted.
I thought where you were going is that LSU historically plays Ole Miss on Halloween weekend. And as you know, when LSU plays at Auburn, crazy things happen. So I don't think anybody is going to, because you're not going to have much semblance of tailgating, so I don't think anybody will be able to set a building on fire. But as you know, Auburn, remember that game?
I do, yeah.
Auburn, and in today's world, by the way, that game wouldn't be played. If you got a fire in the background now, I guguarantee you, it's everybody's out the stadium.
Run for your life.
Yeah. But look, the last time they were there, how cool, they're down. 9 points. Burrow hits Derek Dillon on a big pass, and then Cole Tracy, everybody's sweetheart, kicks the game winner on a walk-off. That was special. And listen, 2 years before that, you remember what happened?
They were down by 20 at half?
No. They caught the pass. DJ Shark caught the pass, but time had expired. And so Les Miles, of course, lost his job after that game.
That's correct.
So Gus Malzahn is as wacky as this world is, and so you never know what he's going to feel.
And that's a good quarterback. Bo Nix plays a freshman last year. He's going to come back and have a great year again for the Auburn Tigers. Then you have the bye week, and then it's Alabama. And say what you want about Nick Saban. At least he has been in the forefront of trying to get football back. You got to admire Nick Saban's gusto in trying to get everyone to comply with all the rules that have been set forth. in order for us to get some football.
Well, and Nick remember when Nick wanted 9 conference games a couple of years ago, and so he's tickled pink that he's got 10 conference games. You got no cupcakes, you got no easy wins. Everybody knows in the SEC it's really competitive, and you got to bring your A game every game. But here's the question, JP. Can you beat Alabama back-to-back? That hadn't happened in a while.
Right.
And can you beat Alabama in Baton Rouge? That hadn't happened in 10 years, since 2010. So a lot of it will be contingent upon turnovers and Miles Brennan and his health. And let's be honest, let's not sugarcoat it, Tiger fans. Miles Brennan has got to stay healthy, because the only 2 scholarship quarterbacks you have behind him are Max Johnson and TJ Finley, who are both true freshmen, have never played it down.
You mentioned the 10 SEC games. I don't think it's been talked about enough. The gauntlet. I mean, everybody was amazed that these teams could survive the 8-game SEC series. But now you stretch it to 10, no weeks off except for the bye. You really can't admire the collisions that happen on this field unless you're up close. I mean, these are car accidents on almost every play. It's going to be very tough for teams that are struggling with depth to continue on this 10-game SEC going. I don't think that's been talked about enough.
Well,
these kids are going to go through war.
You make a great point, because I'll never forget when they added the additional game and then the SEC championship game, and I always was worried about, man, they're going to beat each other up. They're not going to be in the national championship game, because everybody's going to beat each other up. I do think 9-1 is going to win the East. I do think 9-1 is going to win the West. And, of course, Bama has a lot coming back, but they have a lot to replace, including the important spot with Tua at quarterback, LSU replacing Burrow, Georgia replacing, Jake, who we know Jake Fromm was it's a shame. I watched the replay of Georgia, LSU a couple times. He laid the ball in there. They didn't catch it, and then LSU's defense, they had a way of getting people out of their comfort zone. So, going to be interesting to see. But Auburn on Halloween night, open date, and then hosting Alabama, and that's when, JP, we hope that appreciably more fans can get into the stadium for that game.
That's right. You round out the season with Arkansas on the road, Texas A&M on the road, come home, host Ole Miss for the last game of the season. Of course, you have a new coach at Ole Miss, a guy I know you're fond of. You like following him on Twitter. He's a lot of fun. He's a funny guy. He loves himself. What's his name again?
Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. That's right. Lane Kiffin back in the SEC at Ole Miss. At least it'll be entertaining build up to the game, because he cannot stay off that Twitter machine.
Well, not only that, him and Coach O were very tight. And look, Lane told Coach O he was going to come and be the offensive coordinator, and of course he got a chance to be a head coach again, and that's really his way. Let's be honest, they're fighting some political things with the changing of the flag and all of the Confederate flag stuff and all that BS over there. So him and of course the Pirate have had a rude awakening to the state of Mississippi. Bottom line is that Lane Kiffin, we'll see. He went crazy. He can't believe that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are going not to let these kids play, and then the NCAA is not going to let them have a waiver to transfer. Right. I think Lane Kiffin's going to be tougher out at the end of the season than at the beginning. Once again, you don't know who's going to be healthy. Back to Texas A&M. Be careful about going to College Station this year. I know you only have 500 actual road tickets, and LSU's probably going to give that to the boosters and the mamas and daddies. But I have a buddy out there who's been over there, and he did tell me that the senior who had the recipe for ice at Texas A&M has graduated. So that could be a very, very hot ball game.
I like that, Bud, man. We have a whole lot more here on Tigers Roar, along with some sound from Coach O and Jacoby Stevens. We'll let you guys hear that. We'll also talk to Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. Mike has taken no days off. Recruiting has not stopped. He's done a great job with TigerBait.com. Can't wait to talk to Mike. Certainly appreciate all the time he gives us here on Tigers Roar. Don't go anywhere. He's Buddy Songy. I'm John the Poche, and you're watching Tigers Roar.
Creel Tree Service is a licensed and insured tree service providing tree and stump removal, topping, trimming, cabling, pruning, and fertilizing. We have free stump removal with takedowns, free estimates, affordable rates, and senior citizens discounts. Call 774-TREE.
That's 774-8733. Get your yard ready for the warmer weather. If it deals with a tree, call me, Creel Tree Service, 774-8733. That's 774-TREE.
Exiles from what, you ask? Exiled from the radio, but now we're on your television.
I'm Bill Profita, he's Kevin Gallagher, and they kicked us to the curb.
But we're back.
We are back with Exiles Television on the Pelican Broadcasting Network. We're going to bring you the newsmakers. We're also going to take your calls and give you great information. It's going to be the best damn radio show on television.
Look for it on your cable system or download the app, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here. Cox Cable is upgrading the signal from the Pelican, but to catch us, you're going to have to tune in now to a new number. Acadiana, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Gramercy, Lutcher. Check your guide for details.
I've seen a lot of things during my life, more bad things than good. I've lived in a lot of places, but never a home. I don't think anybody cares about me anymore. And now I'm tired. Signed, Brian, age 11.
Abused and neglected children in East Baton Rouge Parish are in dire need of CASA volunteers. Please call 379-8598 today. Change a life of hurt into a life of hope.
Hello. Hola. Ni hao.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
Welcome back to Tigers Roar. Buddy, Coach O was one of the first staffs in the building after this outbreak started. Had a lot of good information out of New Orleans of all the early cases of COVID-19. Had a good staff in place to take all these kids in, get a plan to test them, get a plan to keep them safe. Coach O is ready for football, and he truly believes the state of Louisiana needs college football.
Well, there's no doubt about it. We need it not only for monitoring the businesses, we need it for the psychology of getting back to some semblance of normalcy. Can you believe Coach O one-on-one phone calls with President Trump? Him and John Bel Edwards are tight. He did give the governor a ring for being a part of the LSU entourage and being a big fan. Of course, John Bel Edwards did go to the Heisman in New York when Burrow got it. So, and then can you imagine this? All these TV shows he's been, you always hear that gruffly voice, and now he's giving PSAs and telling everybody mask up and do this and all that. He really, as you and I were talking last year, he really has gotten in his comfort zone, and he's fired up. And you know the thing they're saying, anytime, anywhere, any place, they'll play people. As always, I think people forget just how many breaks and lucky LSU was. Remember the Texas running back early in the game, drops the ball in the end zone. Remember all the things, the injuries and all the things. So LSU got,
right.
What's that?
Two fumbles at the 5.
Oh, yeah, 2 fumbles right there. All that happened. So, look, enjoy 19, but he's ready to get after everybody, and they continue to recruit well even during this pandemic.
We'll let you guys hear from Coach O. He did a Zoom meeting. It was a little different, but media was allowed to Zoom in. I don't know what's the right terminology for that. They got the link. They were to ask Coach O questions. You'll be able to hear the questions and the answers. Here is head coach LSU Tigers, Ed Ogeron, right here on Tigers Roar.
Hello, everybody. Miss you guys. Hope everybody doing fine. hope soon that we can get y'all back over here watching practice. A lot of good things to watch, and I want to thank all you guys for all the great things you wrote about the team, and you've been great to us. I appreciate that. I'm excited about this football team. I think they're very talented group of freshmen. You know, you look at our wide receiver core. You have the Gatorade Player of the Year in Eric Gilbert. You have the Biletnikoff winner, Jamar Chase. You have the number one receiver out of high school, Terrence Marshall. You have Racer McMath. You have Keyshawn Boutte, Coy Moore, and all those guys backing them up. So I think that we're very talented in that area. I like our offensive line. I like the direction Darryl Rosenthal's going. Ed Ingram, those guys have been great. Liam is playing center right now. We're going to see if he can handle it. Chase Allen's playing guard. You know, Austin is out. We moved Cam Wire there. We got Charles Turner can play there. A lot of guys that can move out there. And we got some depth finally at tackle and along the offensive line. So I think Jimmy's going to do a great job there. Running backs looked fantastic yesterday. John Emery had a fantastic day. Chris Curry and Tyrone are bulls. I mean, those big guys that work hard. I think that you're going to see a different team this year. Obviously, the guys that we had last year were very good throwing the ball. I think we're going to be very good throwing the ball again, but our running game is going to be a lot better. I do believe that. Montre Bratcher has been phenomenal. So Kevin Falk has done a tremendous job coaching those guys. Quarterback Miles has had a great summer, great leadership under Coach Hensminger. And those two young guys, Max, you heard me say this morning, ran a little quarterback keep around his left and the defensive right, went about 80. TJ had some good passes yesterday. So everything looks good right now on offense, so we're excited about it. On defense, I just can't say enough about Coach Pelini, what he's brought. Exactly what we're looking for. Toughness, very smart coach, knows his defense in and out, knows what he wants out of it. We're all learning from him. Our guys are taking to him. He's an aggressive coach, but he's a player's coach, and they love him. And up front, Tyler Shelvin is practicing very well. He's 370 right now, but he's still practicing very well. Ben Logan's practicing very well. The guy I'm excited about, a couple of guys, but Jack Leroy from U-High, man, number 99, he showed out. And he's going to be aggressive. I think he's going to be a great defensive lineman. Upweiker's in good shape. He's 330. He's playing well. Guillory is a young nose tackle, going to be outstanding. And then in the defensive end spot, we got Andre Anthony is doing very well. And those guys, the young guys behind them are Philip Webb and B.J. Ujulari. I think they're outstanding pass rushers. Chavez Moore is doing great at left end. He's actually starting at left end, and him and Andre are starting. I think those guys are doing phenomenal. So I think that with the defensive line, we have a lot of depth. We can rotate those guys. The linebacker, DeMond Clark and Jabril Cox have been phenomenal. Michael Baskerville's having his best camp so far. Ray Thornton's there, Josh White, Devontae Lee, Antoine Samples will be strong there. Cornerback, we got Stingley and Elias Ricks and Jay Ward. Those guys are doing a tremendous job. And at safety, we got Jacoby Stevens, Mo Hampton, Todd Harris, and Tolles. Those guys are doing phenomenal. And so I think that we're very strong. And special teams are looking good. I'm excited about the direction of the team, their mindset, and only the second day of camp. But I do believe that the football schools that we had in July helped us prepare. We're much further along than we've been. Tommy Muffet got our guys in great shape. So everything's looking up right now for the Tigers.
Thank you, Coach. We're going to open up.
Excuse me. One guy I forgot to mention, starting at quarterback, is Cordell Flock. Cordell has had a tremendous camp and a tremendous summer. He can play corner or nickel for us. Okay, go ahead.
So we're going to open up with Ron Higgins. Ron, if you can unmute yourself, and then
Okay, yeah, Ed, Ron Higgins, Tiger Rag. A couple of questions. One is, from all the previous national championship teams you've been on in other places, what can you take from those for what happened the year after, the year after approach from those places you've been at? That's one. And secondly, how do you stay consistent with your message without being, I guess, guys tuning you out? They've heard this before. They've heard the one team, one heartbeat. They've heard all the. How do you do it? Keep it fresh.
Yeah, well, you bring up two good points there. First of all, Bobby April is an analyst for us, and Bobby did a study of teams that won championships and the year after. And he went and interviewed some of the players and asked them, say, hey, what's some of the things that you think the coaches did well? What's some of the things that you think that the coaches didn't do well? And one of the most common mistakes is to mention last year's team and compare this year's team to them all the time. So we don't do that. But we do mention leadership. We mentioned LSU standard of performance. Yesterday, I purposely made the first practice very tough to make sure that we were doing the little things right. And I think that's how I got my message that, it's not going to be just because we won a championship last year. It doesn't mean we're going to win it again this year. It's through the process and through hard work. So those are some of the things that I think that I have implemented. I looked at Pete Carroll. And about him, he didn't say anything. He just kept on coaching the way he knew how to coach, and it worked. I think that when you have great players and you have great coaches and you stick to the plan, it's going to work.
Thanks.
Thank you. We'll go to Garland.
Hey, Coach O. Garland Gillen here, Fox 8 New Orleans. Yesterday, Derek Stingley on his Instagram page showed a lot of film of him beating up on Jamar Chase. Well, then last night when y'all sent out your LSU feed, you had Jamar Chase getting the better of Derek Stingley. I know you've talked to the guys at Off the Bench about this a lot, that back and forth. How fun is it to not only watch him on the field, but then to go watch the film at nighttime and watch these two future first-round picks going at it like crazy every day?
Hey, it's everything that we sell in recruiting. Iron sharpens iron. You're looking at two of the best players in the country. And every day, they're very similar in their personalities. They're very humble. They're very hungry. They want to talk about themselves. They just want to compete, man. And the things that you saw in film are right. Yesterday, one guy's going to win. Today, the next guy's going to win. And they know it's on. So, but I do show it to the team, and I use it as an example. Iron sharpens iron. This is how you prepare to play.
Next up, Brooks, and then we'll go Shea, Cobble, Ed.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Your program was early on testing protocols ever since y'all returned in June. Since returning on Monday, how many positive cases have y'all had on the team?
Yeah, very few. I mean, maybe two or three. I think we have 2 or 3 guys that are out. And, Shelly and Jack have done a tremendous job. And Mickey, I do believe we're ahead. I don't know, I'm not going to say we're better, but we're ahead in most programs because of Shelly and Jack and because of Scott Woodward and the preparation that they had for us. So our players feel comfortable that they're getting the proper care. We practice COVID-19 principles in here. Our guys don't blink.
Shea, you're up.
Hey, Coach. I had a question about the defensive line. You mentioned being happy with the depth. At defensive end, we've heard TK McClendon, Justin Thomas, now Andre Anthony and Trevez, young guys like Wellen. How happy are you, I guess, seeing their development into the 2020 season? And do you think you're going to find a more natural pass rush with these guys having 4 D linemen hands in the dirt?
Yes. Justin Thomas will not be with us. He left the team, and we wish him the best. It's unfortunate, but he will not be with us. TK McClendon is just getting back to the team. He took a little time off, so he's going to have some work to do in conditioning. I think that eventually he can be a tremendous pass rusher, but for right now, he's just getting back into shape. But I do believe having a 4-3 defense, the way we're going to attack, the guy that I'm really impressed with is Ali Gay. He's had a great summer. He had a great day yesterday. He's long. He's 6'6". He's got long arms. Obviously, I talked about B.J. Ojulari, Phillip Webb. I think they're two of the best young pass rushers that I've ever been around. So I feel good about Andre Anthony. I feel good about the direction we're going in with the 4-3. Good to see you, Shay.
Good to see you, Coach.
We'll go to Michael Cobble.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you too, man. Missed you. Never thought I'd miss you this much, but man, it's good to talk football. Good to see football yesterday. Kind of two questions, and both of them are kind of related to the situations we're in. Has this extended time afforded you any opportunities that you didn't see coming, and how has it benefited your team? And then secondly, it seems like you guys, and I say you guys as a university, don't have a fear of COVID as much as maybe other people do. It's more like you have a working knowledge. And Shelley said early on, that's because of all the cases in New Orleans. They got a pretty good study of it and kind of understanding of how to combat it. Do you feel like that's what's giving you the advantages?
Yeah, I feel that the knowledge that we have on the staff, I feel that, we were the first staff to come back. And Scott Woodward got that all done for us. And we were working. Man, we have game planned everybody, all the teams that we were supposed to play, and that we had never done that before. And I feel that we're ahead with all the Zoom meetings. This is probably the 5th time that we've installed our offensive defense. And usually it's only about three times, the most, maybe 4. So our guys are getting in depth, in detail, and it helps because we got some new plays on offense. We got some totally new defense. We're all getting into it right now. But I do believe that the attitude around here is that we want to play. Obviously, that's going to be the doctor's decision. That's not our decision. But if they tell us we can play, we want to play. So we feel comfortable. Our guys, the guys that did get sick, most of them are asymptomatic. They got quarantine and stuff like that, but we didn't have guys that were really sick that we had to take to the hospital or anything. So I think our guys are getting used to it.
All right, bud, man, that was Coach O from the Zoom meeting. A little bit different, but not bad. Still got some good information from the head coach. Didn't have to worry about social distancing. Everybody who needed to ask a question got to ask a question. I thought the virtual Zoom press conference went off pretty smoothly.
Well, this is the way things are doing for a guy that's north of 50 like I am. You're 30-something. This is your technology. You certainly understand all that, but this is the kind of way the media has gone, and it's probably going to be like that most of the year. Now, listen, folks, there are a bunch of new numbers and a bunch of new players, so I want to just kind of talk to you real quick and give you some heads up. First of all, before we get into the numbers and all that, I got to ask you, thumbs up, in the middle, or thumbs down? Are we going to see LSU kick it off on September 26th? What's your real gut feeling right now?
Oh, man. They always say prepare for the worst, hope for the best. I'm really hoping there's football at 26th. Trust me, I really am. But after the last 6 months of all I've seen in this country, I got to be the thumbs down.
Really?
I got to be.
Okay.
Show me something different. JPE surprised me and let something good happen. If there's football on the 26th, I will be overjoyed. But as I sit right here, August 19th, you got to show me first.
All right, I'm going to go thumbs up, and of course I'm trying to have the glass half full, so just in case it does all fall into play and everybody does their due diligence on trying to stay safe, just a few new numbers, and there are 2 new number ones, JP. The first number one on offense is Kayshon Boutte. His nickname is Uno, which of course signifies number 1. A lot of shake. Come on, man. You can't sign with Alabama when your name's Boutte.
Right.
Kayshon Boutte is a real player. Number 2, Eric Gilbert. I've already made the prediction he'll be the first tight end in LSU history to accrue 1,000 yards receiving in one season. I think they're going to use him 50% as a tight end and 50% as a big hybrid tight end. Number 8 is Trey Bradford. This guy is one of, if not the fastest players on the team now that Kerry Vincent's gone. And he is from Lancaster, Texas. really catches the ball out the backfield, and you know that's going to be the biggest thing the running backs have got to replace. Clyde Edwards-Helaire catching the ball, putting his foot in the ground, making all those incredible plays. Bradford, a lot of expectations.
We saw Bradford's tape on the show. We aired his high school tape. It looked like he was sprinting while everyone else was jogging. But no, that was real speed.
Do you think they'll go running back by committee with Chris Curry, Tyrion Davis-Price, Emory, and Bradford? I think they'll all have everybody a little bit of role. Bradford, I think, is going to catch the football.
Yep.
All right, the quarterbacks. T.J. Finley, big 6'6", 240-pound kid. He's lost about 20 pounds from Ponchatoula. He's very raw. And then, of course, Max Johnson, who is the lefty, 6'5", about 220. Yesterday, or might have been Monday, Coach O said that he's a lot faster than people realize. 80-yard scamper around in. Trey Palmer, he's a sophomore, but you know I love 33. He's got a lot of burst, very smooth, had to punt return for a touchdown. By the way, we'll ask the question now, just assuming they play. Do you let Stingley continue to return punts, or do you put Palmer and somebody else back there?
Almost like the Randy Moss factor. If it's a big situation, you throw your playmaker back there. But Trey Palmer, I mean, he did an outstanding job for when he spelled in for Stingley. Look, 24, too valuable. What a future ahead of this kid. What a freshman year he had. High ceiling. Like I said, big situations, you throw 24 back there. If not, you have other athletes that can handle the job. You know how LSU had the trio last year of Jets, Jefferson, Chase, and Marshall. Well, the third guy this year could very well be Racey McMath. He is a senior. Very quick, very smooth. We saw him on the highlight tape. Big year potentially for him. Now, Dare Rosenthal, 51. He is a sophomore. He's got to be the left tackle. He's got to stay healthy, got to stay straight, and we know he's replacing Sadiq Charles. Liam Shanahan, 56, grad transfer from Harvard. Here's the question. Can he consistently shotgun snap with accuracy? We know he's smart. He's from Harvard. He can make the calls. He can identify the linebacker and the safety. But, JP, that's a big level discrepancy of talent when you're blocking Ivy League people versus the monsters in the SEC. I hope it works out because the kid is a great kid. Xavier Hill is a kid. Joseph Evans a kid. Marcus Dumerville a kid. Xavier Hill wearing 71. Joseph Evans moved from defense wearing 73. Marcus Dumerville, highly touted recruit that they got last year, wearing 74. And then, of course, as we get to the last couple of guys to get to, you talk about, defensive players. Oh, by the way, Cole Taylor, another good tight end wearing 87. But defensive players, how about Jaqueline Roy and Allie Gay? Allie Gay's wearing 11. Damone Clark's got a chance to really be a superstar and maybe give up his final year, 35. Yep. And Jabril Cox, last question for you before we go to a break and get Mike Scarborough, was part of North Dakota State. He's a grad transfer, 6'4", about 235, can really run. Can Cox and Shanahan come in being lower level, good talent, but lower level competition all their lives? Can they come in and be factors for LSU? I think both of them can be. I mean, they call Mr. Cox Mr. Pick Six. The guy is great in coverage. He can definitely have an effect on the field, playing coverage on the tight end, maybe in some zone. He's got good eyes. He has good hips, and he can catch the ball. Got good ball skills. Mr. Shanahan, guy is smart. Cushenberry, we mentioned it. Such a load to replace. As reliable as they come, especially in the shotgun snap. I think he only had 2 or 3 bad snaps last season, the entire year. Yeah. It was always on the field for the Tigers. He was the captain up front. Cushenberry, we know he got the 18 for a reason. I mean, the guy was well respected in the locker room. That's going to be a lot to replace for the Tigers. Ken Shanahan, a guy who has a lot of experience, very smart, like you said, but can he come in, be that reliable, trustworthy center that the Tigers need? I think he's got a shot to contribute too.
And once again, when we get into September, once we know that we will see LSU football and SEC football, we'll give you more. One final one. Eli Ricks also wear number 1 on defense. Ricks and Flott will be the cover corner and the slot, opposite of Derek Stingley. And you know 2 things are going to happen. They're going to double Jamar Chase a lot. They're going to throw away from Derek Stingley Jr.
That's right.
Those 2 are givens. So now, this year more than ever, can you get some guys that have been backups or true freshmen and come in and fill those spots? 14 players drafted, another 6 undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
I don't know how many millions it was.
Yeah.
LSU, you gotta reload, because everybody in this part of the country, I don't want to hear rebuild.
That's right. We have a lot more here on Tigers Roar. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. We certainly appreciate the time Mike gives to Tigers Roar. Don't go anywhere. Be right back after this break.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Clarence Bugg Show. Yeah, I'm back on the air. That's right, 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday and Wednesday, and we replay it Monday and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight. Check us out online. You can watch it live at PelicanSportsTV.com, or better yet, why don't you just download the Pelican Broadcasting app? That way you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's right, the Clarence Bugg Show. Tell you what, oh, wait, gotta run, gotta go, bye.
Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
For total home pest control, who are you going to call?
Call the Bug Man, 923-BUGS.
For total pest control for your home or business, call the original Salvat.
Call the Bug Man today, 923-BUGS.
Go. And we welcome you back here on a Wednesday night. It is August the 19th. We are taping over here at Scoreboard. You'll see the replay tonight at 8 o'clock. Always enjoyed having Mike Scarborough on. He's been doing recruiting for 20 plus years, and he comes in. Playboy Mike, your new nickname on this Wednesday afternoon. Kind of appropriate when you look at him. He's all bowed up, he's thin, and he's been doing a lot of stuff on Facebook, JP.
The always dapper.
Always dapper, and Playboy Mike, how are you tonight?
Yeah. No, there's somebody in town with that name already.
Well,
I'm doing good, buddy. Glad to be with you guys.
Of course, Mike's been doing some stuff with Ronnie Rance, doing some stuff on Facebook, doing stuff on Twitter. And the first thing that we have to give an overview on, JP and Mike, just how incredibly LSU was prepared, to get the staff back and do all the due diligence on the testing and the cutting edge with Shelley Mullinex and everybody else, and B, Mike, to see them continuing to recruit even though they can't have any of these visits because of the pandemic, and yet LSU's ranked number 1 for 2022 and right around 4 or 5 for 2021. So you got to give a big shout out for the organization and what Coach O and his staff has done in this pandemic, Mike.
There's no doubt. Look, it's been nothing but positivity. I mean, look, there's been bumps in the road. We got the guy stuff that went down is going on now, but for the most part, everything that's happened at LSU in the last 18 months has been nothing but fantastic in the program, and the work ethic of the entire staff and what they're doing in recruiting and capitalizing on the national championship. I mean, they're really putting it all together. So your 21 class is a top 10 class, and the class of 2022 is the top class in the country right now. With 7 commitments. So, and you look what's on the board for 2022 and how well the state of Louisiana looks. It's going to be one of those, once every half dozen or 8-year classes in the state of Louisiana for 22. And I think LSU's going to be right where they need to be in the important position also at quarterback.
All right, we didn't do radio today. We're taking a couple days off to recharge your batteries and get away from the politics and sports. Sports and politics make strange bedfellows. As we know, it's been a concern because there have been a lot of political decisions made because of the Big Ten and the Pac-12 canceling. Mike, it seems like Lane Kiffin has already tried to get a lot of these kids to be able to transfer over. NCAA is saying no to that. That all being said, and we've asked you this before, does this give the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 12 a little bit of an advantage, seeing that they're going to, if it all works out here in 6 weeks or whatever, that they wanted to play through this pandemic while these other conferences have shut it down way too early, like JP said. How much of a positive does that have with these kids right now?
Oh, it's an absolute positive. And I'll argue, too, let's say that all of a sudden you have a couple of bad weeks and all of a sudden the season where they'd have to say first, second week of September that they got to cancel the season or whatever. I think the SEC and the other 2 major conferences have come out smell like roses. Because look what's happening right now. They're getting to send out practice video every afternoon. They're getting to send out photo galleries. They're doing player interviews. They're getting prepared for a season. I mean, that is all marketing. And I also think it shows that those conferences are willing to exhaust every avenue to have a football season and to do it for the players. And I think those recruits see that. I was talking to a longtime friend of mine, Kevin Noon at BuckeyeGrove.com, covers Ohio State. He's actually driving to Chicago in the morning for the protests outside the Big Ten headquarters. And, of course, there's a lot of scuttlebutt going on right now where they're talking about having a half dozen teams that will play each other twice, home and home, and whether they can get that off the ground or not. But there sure is a lot of rumbling, and that commissioner up there is, I think he's very nervous.
That's right, Mike. The Big Ten, Pac-12, they had talked about playing a season in the spring. In my opinion, there's no way that can happen. Too much going on in the spring already, not to mention the climate and getting these guys ready for the NFL. In your opinion, can they possibly play a season in the spring?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And basically what it becomes is a JV effort.
Exactly.
None of your upperclassmen that would be your pro prospect juniors or your seniors are going to play.
Yeah.
They're going to get ready for the NFL draft.
Yeah.
So then what does that leave? What would that leave you? Would you be able to use your freshmen that enroll at midterm? If you're a midterm guy and you were playing in the spring, do you lose a year? Or do you get 2 seasons for the price of 1?
I don't think they're going to take a year away from him, but let's just take Joe Burrow for a second. He jokingly said a couple weeks ago, had he not played in 2019, if this thing took place in 19 and there was no SEC football,
right,
his package was $36 million total with 24 signing bonus. He probably would have lost $35 million, Mike. He may have gotten a 5th-round pick or a 6th-round pick or a 4th-round pick at best, but Justin Fields is going to get his money because he's already got a lot of skins on the wall. But for these kids that were tweeners, these kids that came back to play their senior year, and these kids, and here's the other irony, Mike, the Ohio governor is going to let high school football take place now, so Ohio State people have got to be screaming mad right now.
Oh yeah, the University of Cincinnati, they're playing.
Yep.
Of course, we know the Ohio Bobcats aren't because they're in the MAC, but then you got the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals playing. I mean, it makes no sense. I saw where Governor Whitmer in Michigan. There's no Michigan wants to play, but she doesn't want any football in her state, high school or college.
Nitwit.
Yeah, so it's you said at the start of the segment the politics of it all, but there's no denying the politics and the party affiliation in your particular state is dictating what's going on.
Mike, LSU is planning to play also Tulane and La Tech, but of course the Southland Conference, they canceled conference games, but they told the teams that they were able to go and play those money games if they wanted to. What is the thought process behind that? If you're trying to say it's not safe for these players to come back on campuses and play football, well, why is it okay for them to play the money games?
Yeah, because they need to pay the bills.
Yeah. Hey, Mike.
It's one of these things where we keep trying to figure out, what's going to happen and what's going to be the fallout, and is this the start of all of a sudden this 10-game SEC schedule gets played, and then all of a sudden that becomes the norm in years down the road because people want that. And they don't want those games with Nicholls State or et cetera.
You might get 10-2. You might get 10 conference games now. Of course, Saban wanted 9 a couple of years ago, right, and you get 2 non-conference games.
And here's the thing, buddy. I'm okay with a 10-game schedule, and if in the future you play a game like Texas, and then all of a sudden, if you expand the playoff bracket. That's okay if you go to 6 or 8 teams, whatever you decide to do. But I'm okay with having playoff teams that play tougher schedules and they've got 2 losses.
Hey, real quick, let's get to some recruiting tidbits. We didn't have you on today. I had a buddy of mine wanted to know about tight ends, and if you think Thomas Fidone is considered LSU, does it look like Nebraska? And talk about that other big tight end that LSU's in on. If they get one of the 2, that'd be okay. But, JP, can you believe Eric Gilbert made it cool to pick LSU over Georgia, Alabama, and I still think he's going to be the greatest tight end / hybrid wide receiver LSU's had maybe ever as a tight end. But Cole Taylor's not to sleep on. Mike, Fidone and the other kid, give me the latest.
Yeah, I think Fidone, that it's, with COVID, I think that might have hurt LSU. LSU's certainly in it. it just looks it's going to be hard to beat Nebraska, I think, but you never know. We'll see how it plays out. Certainly, is this another deal where the Big Ten not playing football would help LSU? We'll see. And then you got the other kid, the tight end from Florida, from Tampa, that's also a basketball player. That actually Will Wade is Michael Trigg that is helping with as well. So I tend to think LSU might have a better shot at Trigg, but we'll see.
Okay.
Trigg is down to LSU, South Carolina, and USC as his top three.
Yeah.
Mike, what about Corey Foreman and Mason Smith? They're going to go to the same high school?
I think there's a very, very good chance.
Same
I like
college.
LSU sits with him. That's
Same
another
high
head
school.
Orgeron, Christian Lockentour, Bill Johnson, and Mason Smith helping.
Yeah.
Well, now that USC is not playing, USC had gotten some momentum, and now, Mike, you told me a couple times you think Corey Foreman is down to LSU, Georgia, and there's no doubt Mason Smith wants to be a Tiger. But here's
buddy, if you're a football player sitting in the state of California and you have no high school football season and you're iffy on Pac-12 football to begin with, man, you're looking for a way to get out.
Bye-bye. What I was just going to say is that the problem, though, Mike, and this is a big question, are these kids, these high school kids, at some point this year going to get an opportunity to take visits?
Yeah, that's going to be tricky. That's going to be tricky.
They got to get him to Baton Rouge if he's going to play with Mason Smith.
But the thing about bringing kids in for a visit is being able to shake hands and take them on tours and have a meal together, particularly official visits. How do you risk that if you've got your entire team in a bubble and lockdown and you're trying to navigate the football season and not come in contact with someone who's COVID, and you're going to bring in a bunch of kids that, man, and then they're asymptomatic, but then you get it? Boy.
Also, Dr. Fauci, I don't know if y'all heard this breaking news, but Dr. Fauci's given Tom Herman a personal letter and said he will no longer be able to kiss his players. But Dr. Pepper, 92%, Dr. Fauci, 8%. That's what people believe in this guy. All right, Mike, we got a cornerback that's committing on August the 28th, and you've been predicting him to be LSU. If you could, give us a lowdown on that kid.
Yeah, that's Nate Wiggins from Westlake High School in Atlanta. And I put in a prediction for him to LSU a month or two ago. And, he's a four-star cornerback, 6'2", about 175 pounds. And, LSU's has been trending over Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Oregon, and others.
All right, Mike, before we let you go, I have to ask you, if you had to bet a Diet Coke right now, September 26th, is LSU and the SEC playing football?
Yes.
Yes, you heard it here first, folks.
I went yes, and JP, just to make the percentages. Hey, Mike, a final question. Sage Ryan and some other guys, you and I have this prediction every year. We talk about how many players will be verbally committed before LSU kicks it off. Of course, this year it's different because instead of September 5th with Ole Miss, it's going to be September 26th against Mississippi State. Do you expect, how many do they have now, and how many do you expect by the time they kick it off that first weekend, September 26th?
Man, I tell you, they're at 16 right now. It may depend on how much idle time is out there, what the high school playing situation is for some of the prospects on LSU's board. Maybe they say, they start getting nervous about what offers they can get because they're not playing. But I think there's a good chance that LSU's at 20 by September 26th.
All right.
So, possibly getting 4 more by then.
Okay.
They'll be right there.
All right. And you've added a lot of features to TigerBait.com. Tell everybody what's included now with your TigerBait subscription and your package.
Well,
for it.
As always, you get breaking news sent to your cell phone via text alerts. We send out a free newsletter twice a week. Then we do breaking newsletters as commitments and so forth happen. We go Facebook Live once a week, usually on Friday nights. And we'll be adding more Facebook Live shows as the season gets here. And we're flipping the front page with new content every day now that LSU's full speed with practice and player interviews and so forth. So the entire front page is, we probably got at least a dozen to 15 new items in the last 72 hours. It's on either the front page of Tiger Bait or on the Tiger Den premium message board.
Playboy Mike doing Facebook reports and live every Friday night. You know you've got a thick black book with all kinds of names and girls when you can do a Friday night Facebook and still go out to eat dinner by 9 o'clock.
What that shows you is when that I'm doing Facebook Live on a Friday night at 8 o'clock, that means I have no dates. So,
yeah.
Hey, Mike, we appreciate you. Keep dodging the Rona, my friend.
Yep.
All right.
Stay safe,
talk
man.
To you next week.
All right, Mike. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
And of course, we have fun with him. And Rance has got some guy Marty who's called Playboy Marty. So we had to. And our own Marty over here has been called a Playboy by many of these women that have done shows before.
I've heard that a time or two of Marty's. Always the floor general extraordinaire, as CB likes to put it.
By the way, Bill Fertitta and Kevin will be back wrapping up their week with the Exiles tomorrow from 10 to 12. Always exciting show. Good stuff. You sometimes can call in. Always great guests. Replay at 10 o'clock. Our replay tonights at 8 o'clock and throughout the week. Let's finish up with the Saints. And I got to ask you, you're a big Saints fan. You go to the games. I've had a lot of people who are big, heavy college fans, and because of what's happened with the PR with the Saints, and we know Roger Goodell is not the most popular cat. So I ask you, number one, would you consider it a cop-out if Roger Goodell told the teams play the national anthem while they're in the locker room and don't let these people make a statement, or do you agree with the two national anthems being played?
That would be the best route. Just do everything you need to do in the locker room before. Let me start by saying I am a big Saints fan, not an NFL fan. The organization I grew up on, my parents brought it into me. I have to care about the Saints. I'm from right outside New Orleans.
Sure.
Will I watch the season? Of course. Drew Brees' last season, what he has meant to the organization, to the whole region, has been astronomical. What him and his wife have given back to the community can never be repaid. Never be repaid. The Saints are back in action, probably their best roster in franchise history, and there will be no fans, no Who Dat Nation in the Superdome. It's a travesty.
In September 13th. Now, that's only right now the first game. We'll see if they change it. You think it's going to be the whole season with no fans?
Not the whole season, but they are going to give you a little bit at a time. It's going to be tough to social distance. Look, I've been in that bathroom at halftime. Everyone goes. There's bathrooms all around that Superdome, and they're all packed. Beer men, they're not going to be walking around with their beer. You got to go up with your mask, go to a kiosk, cashless society, boom, take it back. And that's if you get inside the Superdome. Now, getting back to the X's and O's. They're back at practice. Drew Brees has finally some help from Michael Thomas from the outside with Emmanuel Sanders. Also has some young guys looking to make the team. Traquan Smith also very, very skilled right now in getting that third slot position. Tight end, you got Jared Cook. You also pick up Troutman in the draft.
I like him.
Tommy Stevens has also been working with the tight ends. The quarterback from Give me the hand. Look, they did complete some The most interesting storyline for the Saints, the quarterback room. 3 quarterbacks, Drew Brees and Tamis, has already caught like wildfire down in New Orleans. Tamis. Of course, Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston. Everyone said how enthusiastic, ready to work, and hard-working is Winston. Got a very live arm. There's a reason this guy was the #1 overall pick coming out of Florida State for that Jimbo National Championship team. He can throw it all over the field. And, of course, Taysom Hill, the guy who plays 5 spots each and every Sunday for the Saints. Not to mention on defense, they also add Bond in the draft, another linebacker. Going to be good competition between Bond and Nigel Bradham, another guy from Florida State. Been in the league for a long time, can still run, and has seen a lot of different offenses on the field. Saints should have a good secondary, bringing in Malcolm Jenkins, even though he's got to keep his mouth shut.
Oh, he's on CNN, so he's not going to keep his mouth shut.
Do not question Drew Brees' leadership in that locker room. If you do, that's the fastest way to leave. Sean Payton will ask you to leave midseason. You see, he is the grand poobah. Drew Brees, voice #2 in that locker room.
Well, and of course, we know Thomas sets records every year with the number of catches. So I only had 9 touchdowns last year, but 100 47 catches, which was a record. You mentioned Sanders. I like him a lot. Jared Cook, I think the only reason they didn't have home field advantage is because he got a concussion in that game after his second touchdown against the 49ers.
Right.
But I'm going to watch Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I'm going to watch Jets Jefferson and Minnesota. But I'm not going to watch a game that doesn't have LSU players
Agreed.
or I don't have an emotional tie-in because of the statements that have been made. And obviously, this is going to be a unique and different football season. NFL and Saints are going to play. The big question here locally is what's going to happen with high school football. At what point will we be able to see 5-6 games or whatever, delayed state championship?
Right.
And obviously what's going to happen with Tiger Stadium, LSU, and if the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 can pull this off. But we thank all of you out there for being with us because, look, without the fans, I mean, this is going to be a real telltale. I think what this year is going to prove just how important fans are to professional sports.
Well said, Bud, man. There will be a lot of people tuning into the television because there won't be a lot of tailgating around the SEC. Definitely not the Champion Square for the Saints. I mean, that's a big party each and every weekend. That won't happen this week, at least for the 13th of September when Drew Brees takes on Tom Brady. I mean, what a storyline. Tom Brady goes to Tampa. There's an argument about who's been the best.
And gets Gronk to come with him out of
Gets
retirement.
Gronk. I mean, they've had all the storylines possible. Brees versus Brady in the Superdome week 1. No fans in the stands. They will pump in, hopefully, the Who Dat chant before the game because you know they got that pre-recorded. Zach Strief has had a lot of good things to say about the defensive line for the Saints. That will be a key factor in how well they do this season. Getting Sheldon Rankins back from a tough injury. Also, Malcolm Davenport, who had a good year before he got injured last year. He's hoping to be better than Cam Jordan on the other side. That's a tall task. Cam Jordan got the new flow, the new hairdo. He's rocking it. He's another great leader in that locker room. Saints' best roster in franchise history, looking to make some noise in the playoffs, possibly a Super Bowl.
Please, you LSU students and everybody around these players and everybody going back to school, I know you get irritated with this mask mandate, but please try to do the right thing so that we can get football started. And for those of you who've lost loved ones, we feel terrible for you. Obviously, stay safe, mask up, plenty of fluids, and hopefully we'll be back in a couple weeks here with Tiger Roar.
Certainly appreciate you tuning in to Tiger's Roar. But once again, got to remind you guys, check out all the other shows here on the Pelican. Monday and Wednesday, Clarence Bugg's show. Clarence Bugg has been doing it for a very long time. He's very professional, very eloquent. Clarence Bugg does a great job. I'll vouch for him. I know Buddy will too. We think a lot about him. And also The Exiles, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 o'clock in the morning to noon, and with the replay from 10 to 12 midnight. Also, Rocket Right, Dr. K. Solar, and Hurricane Betsy Barnes. A lot going on here at the Pelican. We certainly appreciate you tuning in to Tiger's Roar. For the Bud Man, I'm Jonathan Poche. We thank you for tuning in.